Welcome to the Reset House, the fellowship where faith meets leadership. I am Shino Silako, and I'm glad you're here today because today we're dealing with the hardest leadership assignment you will ever receive. And it's not leading your team, it's not leading your business, it's not even about leading your family. It's about leading you. And let me ask you a question, and I want you to answer it honestly right where you are. If you had an employee who behaved the way you behave, who kept promises you keep to yourself, who managed the time the way you manage yours, who fed their minds with what you feed yours, would you promote that person? I want you to sit on that for a moment while we focus on our anchor scripture. Proverbs chapter 25, verse 28. It says, like a city whose walls are broken through is a person who lacks self-control. Now, I want you to think about what a city without walls meant when it was written. It wasn't just vulnerable, it was an available city, right? Available to any enemy, any radar, any influence that wanted to walk in. No gates to check what enters. No walls to decide what stays out. Now, that's exactly what a life without self-control looks like. Available to every distraction, every appetite, every emotion, every notification. But guess what? People follow gates. People follow a life that has order in it. Not a bad life, an available one. So here's the leadership problem that we must deal with. Nobody follows an open city. Let's just realize that. People follow walls. So here's point number one to this conversation. And I think you should start writing these questions and these points down. Discipline is not punishment, it is direction. Somewhere along the way, we started hearing the word discipline as a threat. You know, discipline is what happens to you when you misbehave. But let's look at the root word of the word discipline. It's disciple. And a disciple is a follower. So discipline simply means your life follows a purpose and not everything by accident. A disciple is a follower of precepts, of standards. And Paul just explained this beautifully by using an athlete analogy. And he says that you have to run in such a way as one that wants to win and get the prize. So in 1 Corinthians chapter 9, and I love how Paul was so practical with this example. By the way, I love how practical this man is. He says, do you not know that in a race, all runners run, but only one gets the prize? Therefore, it means that everyone that wants to compete in games goes through strict training. Nobody becomes Usain Bolt overnight. There's strict training. Nobody becomes the best runner overnight. There are strict trainings and strict rules that you must attend or adhere to. Then if you look at verse 27, and I like what Paul said. He said, I discipline my body and I keep it under control, lest after preaching to others, I myself be disqualified. Paul gave a subtle warning there. He says, not disqualified by the devil, but disqualified by an ungoverned self. And this is it. Your gift can take you where your character cannot keep you. I have seen it in business over the years. I have seen talented people. Of course, I've seen anointed people, tongue-speaking people, brilliant people fall flat on their faces, not because the markets beat them, no, but because they never built walls. So this is Paul, an apostle who wrote half of the New Testament, and he says, I could be disqualified if I don't govern myself. Not disqualified by the devil. I want you to sink that in. So disqualification is by an ungoverned self. You living a life not having walls, not having guardrails, not having principles, not having standards, not guarding your heart. Point number two, and this is very, very important. The battle is won in the mind first. Romans chapter 12, verse 2. It says, do not be conformed to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So notice something very key. Transformation doesn't start with behavior. It starts with the mind. So every undisciplined action was first an unrenewed thought. You see, that abandoned commitment that you have is a thought before it was a quit. You thought about it first. Don't fight your habits at the level of habits. Fight them at the level of thoughts. Write those things down, and then you guard it like a city guards its gates. Because self-discipline is not doing 100 things perfectly. It is doing the repeated things or the required things repeatedly. So let me give you an example. So when your mind says you can start tomorrow, that thought has to be arrested and replaced immediately with the truth. What is the truth? No, faithfulness is today's assignment. You know the law of diminishing intent that says that the longer you wait to do a thing, the greater the odds that you will never do it. So this is what I do, and I want you to imbibe it as a practice. Every morning, before your phone calls, before your emails, ask the Lord, what is the one thing that I require to do? And do those things first. Point number 3. Private victories come before public ones. Nobody claps for your 5 a.m. In fact, nobody sees the meal you declined, the arguments you didn't have, or the money you didn't spend, the messages you didn't send. Those are your private wars and your private places where you fight. And this is where God develops people. God develops leaders in the secret place before he displays them in the public. David was faithful with the sheep. Nobody knew David. Nobody accepted David. He killed the lion. He killed the bear. Nobody knew. He was never celebrated. But the same David was trusted with a whole nation that everybody watched. You see, the public platform is always built on private walls. Private victories have no audience. And that's exactly why they have so much power. So if you feel frustrated that your public life hasn't grown, check your private life. Go back inside. There's a disconnect. You will always reflect what is on the inside. You always reflect what's on the inside. So you want to be celebrated and get validations publicly? Build your inside walls. So let me link this up to the spirit part, right? You see, Galatians chapter 5 tells us that self-control is a fruit of the spirit. What does this mean? It means that you don't produce this alone. Fruit grows from connection. So as a Christian, you have to stay connected to the vine. So let me land this. World one required thing every morning. Do them first. Eat the frog, like John Maxwell says. World 2, one appetite you fast this week. And you choose it. You're not trying to impress God, but to remind your body who is in charge. Because yes, the truth, the reset house is built. God doesn't just want to take you somewhere. He wants to make you someone who can stay where it takes them. World 3, one honest review every week and every evening. Just do it every evening. And the question is this: did I lead myself today? Or did I follow my feelings? Before you lead them, lead yourself first. I hope this blesses somebody. If you've gotten value in this video, why don't you click on the link below to subscribe to this channel so I can get the notification and more videos like this. Because in the Reset House, our focus is to reset lives, reset influence, and help you gain mastery in the marketplace.